Today we're going to discuss the 10 core types of artificial intelligence and how they have been affecting and improving your life for many years. Let's get right into it. The first is machine learning. And what that is, you're passing data into an algorithm to render an outcome. So imagine artificial intelligence is technology that's able to perform human-like actions and learn, and is our greatest attempt at turning electricity and data and all the parts that make up a computer into our own human intelligence. So machine learning is separated into a few different kinds. There's supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. And in essence, what they boil down to is that data known or is it unknown, a mixture of both, or is it self-generated? That, as you can see here, is in things like your email, in network security, so cybersecurity, keeping your computer safe, image and speech recognition, and even video game AI. Next, we have deep learning. And deep learning is an attempt of humanity to design computing architectures as close to our human brains and the way that our neurons function as possible. What allowed us to advance deep learning was adding additional layers. In generative AI, when we added more data, we got better results. It's similar in deep learning. Now, deep learning you're going to see in things like image recognition and speech recognition, taking the functions and capacities of our human brain to the computer world. Next, we have natural language processing, which helps computers understand, interpret, and manipulate human language. So it comes into play with things like syntax analysis or sentiment analysis. If you've seen Grammarly or StockTwits, which takes in the comments that people leave on a specific stock ticker and determines if people are positive or negative about that stock. Those are examples of taking language or text inputs, trying to understand that, and then rendering a decision, whether it's positive or negative, or what it means, or what the content or the intention of that message is. Next, we get into computer vision, which is extremely exciting when it comes to things like autonomous vehicles. It's giving computers eyes. And so that comes into play with image recognition and object detection and video tracking, surveillance, or the example of a Tesla self-driving car. Those vehicles have tremendous amounts of cameras, specifically focusing on the visual inputs, that then gets passed to the algorithmic model, which is determining whether to take a right, take a left, to stop, whether to slow down or speed up. Processes massive amounts of data. Next, we have robotic process automation. And RPA has been around for a long time. There's task automation as the example. You want to perform a task that's being done by a human, you can bring in RPA to do that. So you're taking the sectors of that task, you're breaking it down into what actually gets done, and then training automation to be able to do that, to handle data that comes in, to process it, and then to make a decision or render an output. Whatever that action is, that's what RPA is all about. You could do it in a process, or you could do it on a larger scale where you're able to predict the flow of your operations, your cash flow, and other things like that, how they're being used, inventory that's coming in, demand, and sales, and all those sort of things are all forms of RPA. Now, the big kahuna, the one making all the noise, and that's generative AI. We talked about in another video where there was this paradigm where there was small amounts of data and then there was large amounts of data. And what generative models did was just take in enormous amounts of data again and train it over and over again, scaling up the parameters, similar to how with deep learning we added layers. In generative AI, we add parameters, and the more parameters that you have, as of our current understanding, you are able to produce better results. Generative models are systems capable of creating content. With innovations like generative AI and variational autoencoders, they're not able to just enhance images or make things nicer and more pretty. They're also able to create content, which is what we've seen with ChatGPT and DALL-E and now Sora and all the other models in between that do this exact thing. This is huge because imagine before, as an entrepreneur, you wanted to make a logo. You would have to go find somebody and pay them to do it. That's one way. Or you could go and you can download Adobe, you can design it, you could take in all the colors, you could think about the lines, about the angles, all those things, or you could just tell ChatGPT and in seconds, you are done. You have a logo, and then you can iterate. You say, I want it to be purple, not brown, and it's as simple as that. We're cutting so much time, expense into these simple models, and that's why it's been such a massive revolution. Next is cognitive computing. And this is where we, in a similar way to, let's say, deep learning, we are taking human thought processes and putting them into a computerized model so that we can test or improve our customer experience and interaction. We're taking some of those more human things like emotion and gestures and interpreting them so that we can make decisions based on that data. Next, we have expert systems, where we train a model to have an expert level of understanding within, let's say, cancer diagnosis. And when it sees a X-ray, it's able to determine if that is cancer or not. And those models are now outperforming humans. But still, in our human-driven world, we are using this more as a decision support system. So you have your doctor and you have this system, and they're working together to render the decision. Ninth, we have planning and scheduling, simple workflow management. Branches and trees that we're modeling within computer architectures so that we can make decisions based on what needs to go where and when. And finally, we have speech recognition. That's when we're able to speak into a microphone. It turns that into text. All of these are still in their early stages. One comparison you can make is social media when it first came out. And now look at social media today. There's so many things that we were not able to see that emerged that are now pivotal and critical in our lives. We're going to see the same thing in AI. Imagine what the possibilities are 10, 20, 25 years plus in the future. As we've seen today, AI is not just a single thing. There are many types of artificial intelligence, and in fact, we didn't even cover them all here. There are tons of subsets. So in future videos, we're going to go 10 levels deep in all of this content. So don't forget to subscribe, and for more tech insights, hit the notification bell and stay tuned.